Hi, I'm Steve from the Oasis site, and today we're looking at parts of chapter 2 and chapter 3 of Peter's first letter. And if these verses seem especially familiar to you, it may be because they were the focus of a recent Sunday in the Your People teaching series when we looked at how we relate to our bosses. We may not have a boss at present, but we do all have authority figures in our lives: parents, teachers, husbands, doctors, solicitors, Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, traffic wardens, and of course church leaders. So let's look at the command in these verses. It says in verse 13, "Be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution." Have you noticed that the Bible is strong on honouring authority? In his wisdom, God gives us authorities for our good and for our protection. And we struggle with this very often, but even bad authorities in your life are there because God has allowed them to be there. And he takes our response to those in authority very seriously indeed. He takes pleasure in it when it's good, and he blesses our submission to it, especially when we're treated unfairly. It's good to be reminded of that because, to be honest, there are times when simply we don't like it if we think that we're being told what to do. It's possible that we may think that Peter's teaching is out of touch and that freedom comes from escaping authority and not submitting to it. But he knew what he was saying when he said, "Honour the emperor, honour everyone." He submitted to an emperor who probably went on to kill him. That's radical New Testament Christianity. And this is the great challenge for us. You see, submitting to authority is theoretically fine as long as everything the authority does is for my good. But these verses address relating to unjust authorities particularly, and that is challenging. And yet Peter is saying in these verses that in the context of relating to even unjust authorities, it is possible to know freedom. In verse 16 of chapter 2, it says, "Live as people who are free." How do we do that? What's the secret to that? Well, the secret to getting free, the secret to being truly free so that we can live like Jesus and so that we can live freely for Jesus, is to submit to a higher authority. That's what Jesus did. That's what it's referring to in these verses, submitting to God's authority, which is over every other authority. Now, this isn't an excuse to avoid submitting to human authorities. Jesus, the Son of God, the creator of the universe, the creator of you and me, he submitted to his parents. He paid his taxes. He silently endured all manner of hardship and opposition from the authorities of his day. And he didn't lead a political or a military revolution against them, as many expected him to do so. He lived under authority peacefully by entrusting himself to him who judges justly. That's what it says in verse 23. Jesus knew that his Father in heaven was in control of everything and that he was his beloved Son. He was secure in his identity. And this is what enabled him to live with such freedom, peace, and joy, regardless of what life and the authorities of the day and the devil threw at him en route to the cross. It's as we delight too in being God's children and in his complete and utter control of every area of our lives that we can live with freedom and be subject to the authorities that God, in his wisdom and love, has brought into our lives for our good. So before you get on with the rest of your day, identify right now the authorities in your life. Then thank God that he is shaping you and making you more like Jesus through them. And if you feel that you are being treated unfairly, then very deliberately, even in these next few moments, entrust yourself to him who judges justly. That means one day he will put right every wrong. And ask for wisdom. Some authorities we have no choice about, others we do. But whatever your circumstances, ask for the grace to live like Jesus. Live as those who are free today. God bless you.